supremacy. And in the wake of the U.S. 1924 Immigration Act, which drastically reduced immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe and nearly banned it from Asia. Stoddard had a Harvard PhD in history and was also a Klansman who warned that the, quote, great Nordic race was under siege from all directions. The preface to his book was written by Madison Grant, whose own book, The Passing of the Great Race, or The Racial Basis of European History, came out in 1916, the same year as Breasted's Ancient Times. No marginal figure, Grant was chairman of the New York Zoological Society and trustee of the American Museum of Natural History. In 1930, the U.S. Census succumbed to the one-drop rule, dropping the category of mulatto and classifying those with any fraction of Negro ancestry as Negroes. When Breasted's 1935 textbook edition discarded the brown option, however, he annexed ancient Egyptians to his, quote, great white race. Ignore the white patch here, which represents the ice sheet in the last ice age. Maybe since this is a geology hall here, I shouldn't say to ignore that, but concentrate instead on the sweep of his great white race from the Arctic through the Sahara and the Atlantic to the Urals and the Caspian. The black race and the yellow, the Mongoloid or yellow race are reduced to small letters on the margin and of course not labeled great. Breasted insisted, quote, the peoples of the great Northwest Quadrant, as far back as we know anything about prehistoric man, have all been members of a race of white men who have well been called the Great White Race. The men of this race created the civilization we have inherited. The Mongoloids on the east and the Negroes on the south occupy an important place in the modern world, but they played no part in the rise of civilization. On the south lay the teeming world of Black Africa as it does today. It was separated from the Great White Race by the broad stretch of the Sahara Desert. Sometimes the blacks of Inner Africa did wander along the Nile Valley Road to Egypt, but they came only in small groups. Thus, cut off by the desert barrier and living by themselves, they remained uninfluenced by civilization from the north. The Negro peoples of Africa were therefore without any influence on the development of early civilization, end quote. Drawing on decades of painstaking